Hi, my name is Holly Hauser, and I am here with the Travel Corporation's Velva Collection. Today we're going to be talking about Uniworld Boutique River Cruises, which is the most awarded, all-inclusive river cruising experience you could ever want. Stay tuned, we've got some great highlights for you.
For me, the big difference between an ocean cruise and a river cruise is so many things, actually. Being in the background of doing mostly ocean cruises, I find that it's not so catered to the individual and their interests. The bustle and hustle is great for some trips, but in this particular case, I wanted to go and experience more in depth of the culture, the different destinations that we went to, as well as connect more closer with the staff on board and with other people that we're traveling to. I know Uniworld includes some of their excursions, so we did a lot of those. So we took the bikes and roamed the towns and the villages, or go and see the castles, which was just phenomenal. But I had mentioned that going to famous chef's house, so he came and picked us up at the port of call, and we walked and meandered down through the village, went to his house, and we just cooked up some pasta, had some music in the background, and it was such an amazing experience. So really the experience, the connection with the people is the biggest takeaway that I experienced on a Uniworld cruise.
Every Uniworld ship is different. It all begins usually with the itinerary, the country it sails in, and what inspires me by its location. I always begin with that for design inspiration, because every country is so different. So if we're sailing on the Rhine, for example, when I did the Maria Therese, I was so inspired by all the amazing castles along that river that Maria Therese is completely a castle experience. Another true experience of one of a kind was the Joie de Vivre, which is the super ship we did for France. It was an ode to everything I love about France: the design, the food, the culture, the people. Absolutely spot on from the minute you walk onto that ship. I don't believe there's another company out there in a river cruise line that has the same experience or concept or ability to deliver the experience that we deliver. The most important thing in our company and our family is our guests and our staff and our teams. That is the heartbeat of all of our brands. For our company, Uniworld and its sister brand Red Carnation, we have exactly the same 5-6 star standards.
We're absolutely steeped in hospitality. It goes back to my grandfather standing on the footsteps of my parents' first hotel that they bought in South Africa, and my father was looking wistfully across at a competitor and how many people were going into that hotel's restaurant. And my grandfather said very wisely, stop worrying about what they're doing and take care of the two people you have in your restaurant rather than standing here on the steps admiring across the street. We've always taken that philosophy, not to worry about what other people are doing, but just do the very best you can of looking after your guests. They will come back because you gave them good value, good quality, and great service, and through word of mouth that'll spread. We have something called a tiny noticeable touch, or TNT. So on day 1 or day 2, we find out if you prefer to be called by your first name or your last name, how you like your coffee in the morning, how you like your eggs. The beds that we use are handmade in England by a company called Savoie, and it's those little tiny noticeable touches that our guests really admire, enjoy, and recognize as being a point of difference between you and the world.
Health and safety have always been important. The safety of our crew and our customers is absolutely our #1 priority. And right now with COVID, what it's made me realize is how we have to communicate what we already are doing. The most important thing is we want to get people traveling again. So with our crew, they've all been trained really to emphasize the additional things that they need to keep in mind. We're also following the guidelines from CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, from the WHO, the World Health Organization, and WTTC, World Travel and Tourism Council. So we're taking all of their guidance and all of this information and kind of meshing it all together and figure out what we can learn.
So during our cruises, within the all-inclusive program, we do have some not hidden gems, but some gems, meaning, yes, we take you to a museum, and a lot of companies will do, but we take you there when it's officially still closed, and it's just us. We do that, for example, at the Hermitage in Amsterdam. Another one is the beautiful museum in Vienna, the Art Historian Museum. Then we have it's my favorite one. It's Castles Along the Rhine. We stop near a town called Speyer, and I have one more that always gives me goosebumps. It's Venice. And on one of the nights, we have early dinner. We bring you into the St. Mark's Square, and you got the St. Mark's Basilica. And during the day, you will have seen the long line, the long queues to get in. We have the key. We have a lovely art historian that tells us about the history, and then one by one, they turn on the lights on the mosaics on the ceiling. And it's just magic.
I think what makes our culinary experience to our guests exceptional is actually the personalized service that we are offering. So we gather all the information that we have. In the first 2 days, we learn about the guest needs and preferences, and we apply it to our services. It's not only me who's doing this, it's actually all of us. It's really enhancing the guest experience. Let's say me as a professional, I still learn from our guests. It is a huge satisfaction to see the smile on the face of our guests, and they come and they say, thank you, I learned so much from you.
To give the opportunity to guests to try the local dishes. We are following the trends, but still keeping the original recipes. For me also is the key. The Uniworld hire the employers from the country where we are sailing. So everybody know what we're talking about, and everybody know how the dish must taste and look like. And also to me is like there is no great chef without a great team.
No request is too large, no detail is too small. This was the motto that this department was probably created. You can impress everyone with small touches.
Impossible request, so I don't think it exists. We are all different. We all have different desires. We all have different ideas about our holiday. So I always try to put myself in their shoes and try to find a solution. Well, the most difficult request I had was to organize the wedding in a village called Vivier. And we had to organize it in 3 days, getting ready with the wedding dress, wedding card, and they were very happy. What makes us Uniworld special is us. We are family. We know a lot about us, about the guests, about the clients, about the colleagues. We really grow up together. And I believe the clients which are coming back to us, especially those ones which are returning, they can feel it.
Uniworld's value is really the all-inclusiveness of the product. When you are quoting a client that you're all in, there's no surprises at the end of the day. You can tell them, from the moment you step on the ship to the moment you get off, you won't be nickel and dimed from the beginning of your experience to the end. So I always feel confident selling the product, knowing that they are going to get everything and there's not going to be extra expenditures. But there's a uniqueness when you step on board the ship. When you get on one of their ships, it's not going to look like the last ship you stepped on, nor will it look like the next ship you step on. I think they inspire from a cultural perspective. They're very ingrained in the countries that they visit, the food that is sourced locally from all places, and really just their attitude and how everybody on board will know you, will know your likes, will know your wants, will know what kind of drink you drink right before dinner. It inspires me to be able to confidently say you're going to have a truly unique experience and you're going to be culturally immersed.
So one of the first things we did about a decade ago was establish how to operate appropriately and responsibly on a river. And that includes obviously being responsible and accountable for our pollution, reducing our footprint in any way we can. And then over the past decade, we've worked to reduce our use of single-use plastics across our ships. We look at what plastic is being purchased and how we're reducing that. A third one is reducing our food waste, using computers and technology to analyze what food is thrown away each day and each evening. Purely mathematical and by the numbers of this is how much bread we buy, we see how much bread's being thrown away, and then we can see how we're reducing the amount of bread that's thrown away and obviously how much garbage goes into that. So every one of them has a tracking tool so we can keep measuring and improving on those plans. Our philosophy is that we all have a part to play. We have one planet, global warming and climate change is a reality, and therefore we all have a role to play in reducing our footprint, in protecting our planet. There's 3 R's out there: reduce, reuse, recycle. There is a fourth one I learned when I was in New Zealand called refuse. You can just refuse a bottle of water, whether it's plastic or glass. We are all generating too much garbage. So educating people on how we can refuse, reuse, reduce, recycle, I think is critical. Being a part of Tread Right, Uniworld supports so many local communities with the donations that Uniworld makes to Tread Right. And in turn, Tread Right then provides to our dozens of NGOs and other charitable organizations that we work with. In some places, there are destinations that Uniworld goes to, such as Jordan, Iraq Al-Amir, just outside Amman. SOS India, which is a non-profit that works to rehabilitate elephants that have been damaged or mistreated during tourism and other activities. And our travelers can come and understand what's being done and experience how they are doing that.
When we traveled with Uniworld, we did a multi-generational trip. So my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, myself, and my, at the time, 4-year-old daughter went. So it was a girls' trip. It was fantastic. With our trip, it was a connection with other people along the trip and the connection with the staff. Also, the big highlight for us is the ports of call. It wasn't just your big cities. It was all these quaint and unique destinations within Europe. You could just roam into the little towns and really experience the culture. And I think that was a big highlight for my daughter too. Her big takeaway is the castles and being a little princess. And for her too, there's Disneyland, Disney World, but there's nothing like seeing a real castle. With Uniworld, it's that really catered touch. They know you by name. And one day the staff went off on their own and came back and bought my daughter a unicorn. And they did this on their own time, maybe with their own money, I don't know, but you felt that. It's so giving and so thoughtful. And I still think about it. My daughter still talks about, the time when we made pasta, on our Uniworld cruise and those experiences that really enhance your life.